What's up, my sea urchins? It's Goldfish Gaming, and welcome to my beginner's guide to Valorant. I'm going to be teaching the basics of the game to destroy your opponents, no matter if you're iron, bronze, or even unranked. This video is for you. You'll learn when to buy weapons, armor, and abilities with your money or credits. You'll learn how to manage your economy wisely, as buying too much or too little can affect your chances of winning. How to play your role on attack and defense. You'll learn about the 4 roles in Valorant: Duelist, Initiator, Controller, and Sentinel, and how to play them effectively on both sides. How to win more fights with your aim and movement too. You'll master all of these Valorant mechanics to get a head start on your game. First, let's talk about the rounds. As a new player, managing your economy and knowing what to buy can be very overwhelming with the many guns in the game. But I'm going to simplify the seemingly complicated process into simple steps you may even need to write down. First, on pistol round, you can buy your abilities, a different gun than the classic, or a mix of both. I'd say that for just all situations, versatility, the classic is easily the best pistol if you think about it. It has a strong left click that hits 75 on a headshot. This does mean that even on pistol round, you need to hit someone in the head twice to kill them. But it also means that if you're on a save round, for example, which I'll explain in a minute if you don't know what that is very powerful and could kill someone with full shields, Vandal, stacked up in just 2 shots. And its right click shoots 3 bullets at once in a close spray, which makes it very powerful at close range. Pro tip: when shooting close to mid-range with the classic, start by shooting once with the left click, then quickly once with the right click. You may even want to go into the range and practice doing this very quickly. And if the enemy still isn't dead, only do this again if you're very close, but that would probably mean they're dead anyway, so you shouldn't have to worry about this too much. If you win pistol round and live, you may want to invest in abilities and shields instead of buying a new gun if you have maybe a sheriff, maybe even a ghost. But if you had any other gun or died, I would buy a Spectre. Or actually a sheriff with full shields, which may sound crazy, like Goldfish, it's a pistol. You want to have an advantage. But if you're most likely going to be fighting from long range, but maybe close range you don't exactly know, the Sheriff is a great pick, and if you play it right, a pistol round win should let you win the next almost automatically. But if you lose the pistol round, you may not have a lot of money. This is where you would want to do a save round. In save rounds, you buy all of your abilities, unless you're Chamber, where you buy a few Headhunter bullets, or maybe all of them if you got enough kills. Anyway, just go for a kill or 2 on the enemy team instead of killing everyone and trying to win, because that probably isn't going to happen unless they make a huge mistake. Then you can lower the amount of better guns the enemy has, and they have to spend more money next round. Also, don't use abilities that are extremely expensive unless you think they're essential. Because I say this because for every credit you spend is 1 less credit that you gain next round. You can see this when you click on the little I over guaranteed creds next round, right under how many credits you have when you're in the buy menu. So next round, when you have a lot of money, you have less to buy as well. After that, it's much more intuitive. You may have another save round or 2 in that half, but after that, just buy whatever guns you can afford while keeping enough money, unless you want to force buy. This is where you spend all your money so you can get either an advantage or as even guns as your opponent. I like having at least 1,000 creds left over, except for pistol round, and sometimes the second round, where you can break that rule just because of the lack of money. For pistol, I wouldn't worry about the next round at all, really, when it comes to the economy and how much money you're going to gain next round specifically. Next, as of posting this, Valorant has 23 agents, and soon 24. This can be very confusing for new players who are just trying to learn the agent they main. And I understand the feeling of seeing abilities and being like,
excuse me, what the actual f*** are you doing in my house?
I would recommend going to the range and spending a few minutes with each agent to get familiar with their abilities, even if you don't plan on playing them at all. It can still be very important to understand abilities, both to know how to counter them and to ask your teammates to use their abilities to help you. Now, I'm going to break down your job as each role on both attack and defense. Heads up, I'm organizing this section by doing attack and defense jobs for each roles. For example, I'm going to start with duelist on attack, duelist on defense, Anyway, you get it. So, speaking of duels, let's start with duelists. It may seem like rushing in and fragging out or getting kills is the best and no other role is important. And this is a thing in some other games, but not in Valorant. Every role is important, and one is arguably more important than a duelist. On attack, a duelist's job is to entry for their team. In other words, your job as a duelist is to take sight and get a kill or two, or even just push people off of angles that could slow your team down or stop your push completely. On defense, it's similar but more passive. There are many things to do on defense as a duelist, but the most popular is to hold an angle that could get you a kill or two and slow down the attacker's push, making them scared to peek the angle or die. Now, back to attack. The job of an initiator is to both get information for your team. This is usually using a fireable piece of utility, like a KO knife or a Sova recon dart, to see if it's safe to get onto site. Now remember, don't try to just not see anyone at all. This is almost impossible. Just try to find a site that won't be too difficult to get into. Stay away from agents like killjoys or ciphers. This usually means that they're set up and ready for you, so you shouldn't go there. You also should go right behind your duelist, or duelists usually, to get enemies off of angles, or hold choke points with yourself sometimes, or usually your util. A choke point is a point at which multiple enemies may want to go through for some reason, like where they would choke you with their numbers. For example, on Ascent, this is a choke point, because it is most likely where several players will funnel through. This is also a choke point, because multiple defenders may rotate to the site being hit through their spawn where it is presumed to be safe. Gecko mollies and KO grenades are a great thing to throw early round if you know enemies will come through quickly. Or you can throw them later if you want to stop players from rotating. On defense, your main job is to use your utility to see what site is being hit early so your team can have numbers as fast as possible. Pro tip, when site is being pushed a bit, don't immediately rotate everyone back from the other site or sites, because they might be faking the site or just plain rotating. Back to attack again, let's talk about controllers. On attack, your job is to smoke off defender choke points. Back to ascent, these are potential choke points it is crucial to block off from defenders. Pro tip, smokes are not walls. Now I know, you're probably thinking right now, well, no, really? I didn't know that. Yeah, of course smokes aren't walls. But a lot of people act like there's no chance at all someone will peek through a smoke. And I understand, because it's usually dumb to peek through a smoke. But lots of players across all ranks peek smokes just for different reasons at different times. Sometimes for good reasons, sometimes for bad ones. But all players across all ranks do. You can also smoke places where defenders may get onto a site when your team is already on the site. But don't think you can have lots of value, even if this might seem boring. For example, Brimstone can use his molly on the spike to defend it, or instead of an initiator using their molly, you can use yours. Or Omen can use his teleport to be in an unexpected position to frag out and get lots of kills. His teleport can be very strong with his blind too, because his teleport makes sound, but obviously they can't hear the sound if they're blinded, because it also deafens. On defense, it's very similar. Smoke choke points, like the one you're near, and the other site if you're playing Omen or Astra, for example, and your smokes can reach. Finally, sentinels. On attack, they can stop flanks or the enemy from getting behind your team, with things like cipher tripwires, killjoy alarm bots, and chamber trademarks. They can especially shine in the post plant, or after the spike is planted, and on defense. First, if your team has a spike down, and you can place tripwires or turrets to hold near angles that defenders would push through to get onto site. On defense, you can do a whole setup completely forcing attackers away. This can be very useful and completely stop pushes, making them have to rotate, wasting more and more time. Finally, winning gunfights. If you want to win your games, you want to win your gunfights. This section will simplify aiming into simple processes and crazy tips to accelerate your gameplay easily. So let's get started. First, the basics. Has someone ever told you that you need to stop moving, but when you see pros and good players like Radiants, Immortals, Ascendants, they move all the time. But when you move, your bullets go a mile away from your crosshair, and you just are left saying, my Vandal doesn't do that, or my Spectre doesn't do that, my Phantom doesn't do that. I know. I get the feeling because I was there too once. The first rule of aiming is to see, stop, then shoot. When you see someone, you stop moving, stop. Then you shoot them, which is shoot, of course. But this alone may get you killed because you're not moving, and you are not a hard target to hit for the enemy. So a better way is to see, stop, burst fire or shoot a few shots, move, stop, burst fire, and repeat 1, maybe 2 times if you're not confident in your aim or it's not that good. Pro tip. When you stop strafing, tap the opposite key to move in the other direction, both confusing enemies and making you stop a little bit sooner to make you accurate quicker. This trick will easily make you set your aim right in your enemy's crosshair as long as saying that you don't want to hit that subscribe button. But seriously, I spent a long time writing this and working on it. I love you guys. Please subscribe. Anyway, let's continue. This strategy works with mid and long range fights, but with close range weapons and close range fights, with the Phantom or something else, you may not want to use the same strategy, and you might want to use it minus the stop part. Really though, this can be very effective because you can still get most shots off while still being an extremely difficult target to hit. Another thing to do when taking fights, when for example peeking an angle or entering onto a site. I have 3 strategies for peeking. The first is called slicing the pie. This is an actual military technique that is used to expose yourself to small bits of angles instead of an entire angle where enemies could be anywhere. Let's use this example. Just move to the right until you can see a bit of the angle, retreat left, then move right, but a bit further, retreat left again all the way, and move even further to the right. The point of this is to have your crosshair focused on 1 or 2 specific places, so if there's an enemy there, you can get an easy kill. So you don't have to just move around your mouse and hope that you see an enemy and you can kill them before they kill you. This skill takes time to develop and find a balance between speed, but also slow enough that you can process if there's an enemy there, and you'll get better from just naturally playing the game. Trust me. Here's a clip of me that I think is a really great example of slicing the pie very well. Tracing. The way it's usually done is to move your mouse semi-slowly to the side of the back wall where you think the enemy would peek and slowly drifting your crosshair to where an enemy's head would be. It's like slicing the pie, but instead of peek, retreat, peek further, retreat, repeat, you don't retreat, but peek a bit slower. So it's more like peek, stop, peek, stop, peek, stop, peek, stop, pretty quickly if you can get good at it. The Poppin Swing. You may have heard of a dry swing, which is when you swing an angle completely with not much of a sense of if there's going to be 3 enemies looking at you or no one at all. This kind of dry swing is only recommended if you're in an intense rush or 100% sure that no one's on the angle. Whether that's you're on attack and you have 10 seconds left and it's pistol, so it doesn't really matter, or maybe that's because you're sure because you heard the enemies rotating to the other side. Whatever it is, you have to be sure. However, a Poppin Swing is like a dry swing, but you have an idea of where the enemy is, and you swing an angle completely, then keep holding the strafe key for a bit while making sure that your crosshair is lined up with their head, and get a few shots in. Just line up your crosshair, stop strafing after strafing out into the enemy's line of sight for a while, and then just 1 or 2 tap them because your crosshair is already lined up and you're not just spraying. Before this video continues, I'd like to take a second to tell you about a single 30-minute coaching session where I'll help you with actionable steps to get you moving in the right direction. Just shoot me a DM on Discord or email me at goldfishycoaching, spelled goldfish with an E at the end, coaching, to get started. If you have any questions about the coaching or something else, feel free to hit me up with a DM on Discord or an email too. I'm excited to help you on your journey to reaching the higher ranks of Valorant. Check out the coaching program channel in my Discord or email me for further details. All ages, levels, and ranks are welcome. I hope to see you in my calendar. Crosshair placement. One of the most critical parts of aiming in Valorant isn't even aiming at an enemy at all, really, but more like lining up your crosshair to aim at an enemy easier when they do come up on your screen. I'll break it down into a simple process that you can think of easily. But first, I'll explain why my strategy works. You may have heard an enemy running at you while holding an angle before and decided to aim at that angle to kill them, only for you to take a few shots when you see them and then get killed because they just flew right past your crosshair. But it doesn't make sense, and when you throw the crosshair all the way to the right, it doesn't work. I know. Well, the problem isn't your reaction time. I mean, unless your reaction time is multiple seconds and you're here on this guide, it's probably not the problem. The problem is your crosshair placement. I know it sounds crazy that sometimes you're more likely to die when you don't put your crosshair on an angle, but it's true. If an enemy is going forward or even to the left or right for some reason, they are most likely going to run right past your crosshair. If the enemy is shift walking, but you know that they're going to pass you, put your crosshair just a little to the left or right of the angle, so then they will walk to the side of your crosshair for a second, then right into it. Remember, you can still move your mouse too. If they're running, move your crosshair a bit further from the left or right of the angle, so that they'll walk into your crosshair in the same amount of time, but just while running, so they're faster, of course. So, the strategy is that when someone is approaching an angle slowly, move your crosshair near the angle. And when they're running and approaching the angle quickly, move it a bit further. Using utility to win fights. Go into the range, hit F3, click on Eliminate 50, close that menu, click Start. Don't think about the timer at all. Just click F2 to select the agent you play. Look at their utility and think about what utility they have that could help you win gunfights without anyone else. If you can't find any, that's okay. And many agents don't have utility that can help them in a type of fight that is just a quick peek and you just need to get the kill now. But if you can't find any, make sure to take note of this and try not to get caught with your utility out, because it's good to know that you are more gun reliant. But if you do find some abilities that can help you in battle, take note of this. And I'll use Chamber as a great example. Here's my thought process and what it would be if I mained Chamber and I was thinking about this and using this strategy. Well, he has a trademark which can slow enemies. A headhunter, which is like a sheriff, but with aim down sights. A rendezvous, which after putting down, can teleport him if he's close enough, and his ultimate, which is a slightly better operator. And now with the new buffs, a much better operator. And after noticing that, you would think something like this. Well, his rendezvous can be great if I'm being chased and can't fight, maybe I'm low, or I'm in a clutch situation. My headhunter can be good if I'm fighting long range and bought a close range weapon like a Spectre, or maybe if I'm out of ammo. I can use my rendezvous to dry swing an angle and be ready to teleport back if I see someone, then come back to kill them or leave. And my operator, Tour de Force, is great on a save or a low credit round because I can buy full shields and peek mid, for example, with it because it's an operator. It's better. Thanks for watching my beginner's guide to Valorant. In this video, you've learned crucial strategies for success in the game. I've discussed the importance of understanding when and what to buy, as well as the specific roles and responsibilities of each side. Additionally, you now have valuable tips on how to win more gunfights, giving you the upper hand in intense gameplay and those crazy clutches. With this newfound knowledge, you'll be better equipped to navigate the world of Valorant and improve your skills. Remember, this guide is designed for those who are new to the game, so take time to practice and enjoy the learning process. Keep honing your skills, stay strategic, and most importantly, it's a game, so never make it unfun for yourself.